Welcome to Blk Ivy. We are a shoppable museum dedicated to the fashion of the civil rights movement. And so for me, that means tracking the era beginning in 1954, which allows me to bring into conversation the decision to integrate schools with Brown versus Board of Education, through 1972, when Shirley Chisholm runs for president, first Black woman to ever do so. So, when we think about Blk Ivy style as a period in American fashion, it's this effort by Black intellectuals and creatives like John Coltrane and Miles Davis and Gordon Parks to be, adopting, adding, I think, some really important flavor to the style of the Ivies, particularly Princeton, which is where the American Ivy style actually kind of emerges. And then they take that and they do what they do in jazz and in photography and in the visual arts, and they make it fresh. And so I think it's important to honor that legacy of activism through fashion, and I think it's important to include women, which is what I aspire to do as I kind of broaden up the timeline to be more inclusive of the women who I admire so much. I love this drop waist piece. It's got a beautiful collar to it, wide collar, a very clean lining pattern, and what is so iconic of this era, which is really thoughtful darts. You'll see something different but fun in this 100% cotton dress, really for a super petite person, probably more like a teen, thinking about the Little Rock Nine. This piece is precious in that way, really fun pattern.
Very like schoolgirl style.
Very schoolgirl style. And then you see something that's a little more, mature, and when I think about Coretta Scott King, you'll think about something that's like a woven pattern, and some maybe heavier, more mature colors. Same thing is true of this piece, which is in mustard. Mustard is one of those colors like yellow that really is a really beautiful neutral. We think about navy and black as neutrals, but that can be a really lovely neutral too. This is what's called a travel set. So, lots of different companies were making these. This is from Talbot's in the 1960s. These 3-piece sets that were intended to, you could wear them as separates or together. So I love that idea of thinking about how do we bring women's fashion that allows you to put both into your wardrobe. We don't realize as Americans that our fashion is rooted in these other periods, right? We see the comebacks, but I don't think we realize that they've always been happening. It didn't just start in thinking about how do we bring back Y2K and how do we bring back the 90s. We've always been experimenting with time travel. I think what I want to do is make that time travel really rooted in an alignment with the conversation I hope more of us are having, which is about how we're really standing on, I think, some really interesting precipices when it comes to the preservation of civil rights. And so while, yes, we can drop fashion in a conversation about fashion in any era, I think that the one that we should be really going back to and remembering in terms of tactics and techniques for building diverse coalition is that of the civil rights movement. And I think there's a beautiful opportunity to make that wearable through fashion. So, it is like, I do love Black Ivy style. Like, I love the preppiness and the structure and the intentionality of creating dignity through fashion in that era. But I also think that we can probably adopt a little bit more of it in our day-to-day right now.